Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. Short message before we begin, today's video has two stories and both have updates, so be sure to stick around after the first story. Now let's get started. This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's by user lastname3. Me, 29 female, with my husband, 33 male, of 3 months. He wants me to change my last name and I don't want to. I'm not sure how to proceed. Like the title says, I've been married for about 3 months now, after an 8-year-long relationship, with living together for a bit over 6 years. Marriage was not something that I was expecting, as my now husband has always had a vocal aversion and it was never something that was super important to me. Anyway, I decided to work part-time and go back to school this year, with his full support, and we married mostly for insurance and tax reasons. He asked me a few months ago, it was very casual, no ring, no announcement, no big deal. I was fine with that, and a few weeks later, we went to the courthouse and did the deed. Nothing in our relationship changed, really. I was glad to have legal protections like hospital visitations and stuff like that. We have had commingled finances for years now, so no big transition there. But now he is insisting that I change my name. I like my name. It's the name I've had my whole life and I'm used to it. I told him I would be willing to hyphenate, but he said that would piss him off more than if I didn't change it at all. We had a knockdown, drag-out argument over it yesterday and I'm not sure how I feel. He said that it makes him feel like we are officially married if I take his name. Prior to this, before our wedding, I asked him to wear a wedding band and I would wear one too. I didn't want some huge diamond. I'm talking plain gold wedding bands. It would have been around $400 for both rings. We can afford that easily. I wanted the rings for the same reasons he wants me to change my name, basically. A physical symbol that says I am a married person. He didn't want to wear it because it's, and I quote directly, dumb and uncomfortable. So last night I told him that I would change my name if he wore a wedding band. He got really mad at me and said that was BS because he didn't want to wear a ring. I told him that I didn't want to change my name. This devolved into him telling me that I pressured him into marriage, which I absolutely did not do. It was something that we had discussed as equal partners, and I told him repeatedly at the time that I did not want him to do this if he didn't want to. I explicitly told him that I do not want to get married because I thought he would resent me considering his firm anti-marriage stance. He literally talked me into it. It really was the best solution to our situation and that's why I agreed to do it. And just in case, I should explain that I know he is not cheating on me, etc. and we are one of the most stable, drama-free couples I know. We are extremely well suited to one another and are best friends. I love this guy with everything I have and I know he loves me too. Why do you think it's such a sticking point for him? Do you think I am being difficult for not changing my name? Well, OP, based on all of the information that you've given us, I think no, you are not being difficult and you actually gave a proper solution. If he wears a wedding band, you change your last name. You know, it's give and take, right? That's what relationships and compromise are about. Now, personally, I really don't understand this last name big deal thing because where I come from, we have both our last names. I'm Latin American, I'm from Chile. So I've got my dad's last name and my mom's last name, and my mom did not have to change her name. Anyways, back to you, OP. I would think that communication should solve this. Why is he being such a stickler for that if he was so anti-marriage, right? If he was anti-marriage, I don't think he just woke up one day and said, you know, she has to take my last name, because it wouldn't mean anything to him. So I think when you figure that out, then you guys could move on to deciding what you're going to do. And what do you guys think is going on here? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. No Great Cathedral says, so, he thinks marriage is an antiquated tradition and wedding rings are dumb and pointless symbols, but you changing your name is suddenly extremely important to him? And he never said anything prior to the marriage where I'm guessing he knew you weren't changing your name? Something's wrong with this. I feel like there's an underlying issue here that's not about the name. Maybe he's having post-wedding jitters, or some friend or a family member has started giving him flack, or something else is wrong and he's picked this non-issue to take his anger out on. Don't change your name because on top of it being your choice, I highly doubt that's going to make things better. See if you can set that issue aside for now. Tell him you're going to keep your name, as always was the plan, and that you aren't going to discuss it anymore. Ask him why this is suddenly an issue for him if it never was before. And Opie responds, that was the feeling I was getting too. Like maybe he feels like he's sold out or whatever. He can also be weirdly traditional sometimes, and I wonder if he thinks I owe it to him for marrying me. Which is crap because it's not like I begged him to marry me and he did me this huge favor. Sukin-sin says, no, you should not go ahead and do it. You offered 2 compromises, both of which he shot down. So now it's up to him to compromise. You shouldn't be expected to give up your name. You like it, you keep it. I think it's a sticking point because ego. The woman is supposed to change her name. Every time she doesn't want to, men get offended. I see no reason for you to give up your name, and I'd challenge him to come up with one good reason why you should go through the major pain in the ass of legally changing your name. Hint, tradition is not a good reason. Arxie says he is being unreasonable since you've offered 2 compromises. 1 hyphenating your name and 2 changing your names if you both wear wedding bands. I don't think you are being difficult. You have every right to choose your own name. If you can't both talk about this without it turning into a fight, maybe you could meet with a mediator or counselor to discuss it. Maybe you would both write out what you want and why, then exchange letters and get a better perspective or be able to describe your stances more clearly to one another. Additional information from OP's comments. In all honesty, we didn't really talk too much because we already had the big things covered. Finances, kids, future goals, etc. It never came up, and after the discussion of the initial ring, I assumed it wouldn't be a big deal. I should have said something. However, there's a lot of give and take in our relationship, and I'd say it's pretty equitable. The more I think about it, the more I think it has to do with him feeling like he already sacrificed in marrying me, and I should return the favor by changing my name. But that's not really how things went down. I think he thinks I'm just being stubborn. I was shocked when he even brought marriage up in the first place. His parents had an extremely nasty divorce and he was really anti-marriage. I can see why he might be struggling with it a little bit, to be fair to him. It doesn't mean that he doesn't love me. We are very compatible and rarely disagree on any of the big issues. Yeah, not a high expectation of romance. It's not important to me and something I don't feel comfortable doing. I'm all for cuddling and saying I love you and stuff, but if I came home to a bed strewn with rose petals, I'd think it was corny. I probably do give in more often, but my husband is also a catch pretty much. He is smart, hilarious, trustworthy, ambitious, hardworking, cute, and kind. He's not a monster, but on the small things, I am pretty easygoing, and not just with him, but in general. So he probably does get his way a lot, without it being this conscious, deliberate thing. I am going to tell him how important this is, and I think he will listen. He may not get what a big deal this is to me, and he does have a gift for hyperbole, so he may have said the pressure thing to try and get his way in the heat of the moment, which is childish and bratty. Lol, it's a flaw we share, so I can't get too mad. Alright, well the community had some advice for OP, which I think she took on pretty well, and she gave us a little bit more context as to everything that's going on in the background. Now, before we move on with the update, just remember that up here is a playlist full of other stories that you might want to check out after this video ends. Now let's continue with the update. So many of you were right. He had his dad whispering in his ear about how he ruined a good thing by marrying me, and now I would completely change and make demands upon him. My husband took my reluctance to change my name as defiance and dug his heels in, trying to prevent me from turning into a battle axe nag, also known as becoming like his mother. So thanks, father-in-law, for projecting all your BS on me. Father-in-law and I actually get along pretty well, and it really hurt my feelings when my husband told me. He has since apologized, FYI. My husband said the stuff about being pressured in the heat of the moment. It wasn't reasonable or mature, but he's human and overall he is a great husband. I had a long talk with him in which I pointed out that I would be super dumb to wait someone out for 8 years just to land a husband. And I pointed out that I'm not his mother and he's not his father. Long story short, he stopped being so weird and emotional about it. He agreed to get a ring tattoo as a compromise. I wear a gold band because I'm not a tattoo fan. He also called his dad and told him that I knew what he said, and his dad gave me what I feel was a sincere apology. Father-in-law is okay, I am not going to hold grudges. He has a lot of issues that I'm not going to get into, but we're cool. Anyway, my husband told me I didn't have to change my name, but I went ahead and changed it after he got the tattoo. Maybe that isn't technically compromise or whatever, but this was my way to show appreciation to him for doing what he did. And just to be very clear, my decision had nothing to do with my father-in-law or my husband's temper tantrum. It was done as a loving gesture to a man that I love who really came around to seeing things from my perspective and who acted quickly to make the situation better. He proved how much he cares about me through his actions after we talked. I wanted to show him how much I care by doing something I knew he wanted. If my name was that important to me, I wouldn't have changed it. I am very much my own woman and not a cowering mouse who allows herself to be bullied. Opie's edit. Dang guys, the compromise came when he said that I didn't have to change my name and then got a ring tattoo. It was a conciliatory move on my part and I am happy with the results. The guy got a damn tattoo. That is a perfectly acceptable ring to me. I wanted to show him that his wants and needs are important to me too. No one forced me to do anything or made demands. Jeez. Edit 2. Lol. Thanks for this PM, stranger who uses a throwaway. You are a ridiculous, pathetic excuse for a human to literally throw away your name, your identity, because a man asked you to. I would laugh if it wasn't so sad. Good luck with this guy. You really picked a good one. I'm sure you will have a lovely marriage as long as you roll over to his attempts to control and manipulate you. And then you cheer and defend him when people try to point out what a piece of crap you married. Absolutely shameful and disgusting. I hope you get help. Alright, so compromise was reached. Good. They talked it out and saw where the problem was, then they solved it. He got a tattoo and she changed her name. So I'm gonna count this as a happy update because they both understood each other's points of view and did something for the other. Good for them. Now let's move on to the next post, which, as I said at the beginning of the video, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user ThrowAwayAccount0. Am I the a-hole for calling out my dad and stepdad? I, 16 female, have a twin brother, Cody. I do cheer and Cody does sports. We do these activities because we enjoy them, but Cody also puts in a lot of effort because he's constantly seeking approval from our dad and stepdad. The two don't care for each other, but are somehow the best of friends when it comes to Cody's sports. He does like 5 different ones because our dad likes hockey and lacrosse, while our stepdad prefers football and basketball, and they both enjoy baseball. If he ever dares to quit a single one of them will throw a riot or accuse him of playing favorites. It's so dumb. Sometimes Cody's schedule clash or get so overwhelming to the point where he'll lay on his bedroom floor for hours and dissociate. It's been like this since he was like 10. My mom and stepmom think it's just man being man and that boys enjoy sports, so Cody probably doesn't care. But like, there's a limit to everything, right? We were having a celebratory lunch for our older sister before she leaves for college and both sides were there. The lunch ended at 2 p.m. and our sister asked if we wanted to go to the mall. I said yes and Cody was clearly going to say yes, but our dad said he had baseball practice. Cody tried asking if he could sit out one day since he hadn't missed a single practice of anything in his life, but our stepdad joined our dad's "practice makes perfect" speech and backed out. They then tried using me as an example. Oh, Ashley's never missed a day of practice and look at her, medals and trophies for days. I thought this was ridiculous. I've missed plenty of practices and Cody has more awards than me. I asked them if they were being serious and told them what I just mentioned. My dad just kept telling me to be quiet, but I called him and my stepdad losers that need to realize that Cody is a human being with limits, not a doll they can program or play with. Both of them were very embarrassed. My dad told me that I was being very disrespectful. My mom joined in and said I was reading too much into the whole thing and that they're man and I simply won't get their dynamics. I call BS, but they're all saying I'm in the wrong and need to apologize. My sister agrees with me but says I was disrespectful. Cody doesn't want to talk about it. Am I the a-hole? Just to make it clear, the practice was an informal one. Think of it as extra credit to strengthen specific skills. Well, OP, from what you tell us, no, I don't think you were the a-hole. I think you brought up a fair point. However, I don't know exactly what you said to your dad and stepdad and how you said it, but your sister seems to think you were disrespectful in how you said it. Maybe you should revise that. From what you tell us, it doesn't sound like you were. But in summary, no OP, I do not think you're the a-hole. And what about you guys? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's take a look at the community judgment. Vivid Rent 7730 says, not the a-hole, it needed to be said and it's sad that no one has said it before. Good for you for standing up for him. When your brother has a breakdown because of the pressure, your dad and stepdad will be there all confused as to why that's happened. Don't Scream I'm Scared says, not the a-hole. Somebody has to stand up for your brother, and since both moms in this scenario failed to do so, your brother is lucky to have a sister like you. Both your dad and stepdad are the a-holes in this scenario. They need to grow up and realize that your brother quitting a sport from either side, that doesn't count as him playing favorites. God, they sound so immature. Dirty Wet Dreams says, not the a-hole, you're a good sister. I wish I could give you a hug. Please give Cody hugs and let him know you are there for him. He probably wants love and approval from his fathers and they can't put their egos aside. Keep speaking up for him if you have to. It seems your mom doesn't understand either. I find there's a lot of power in trying to word things in a polite yet brutal way. I'm very hot-headed myself and curse like a sailor when I am mad, so it does take practice. A lot of adults will think that a teenager is rude, etc. just because bad language is used and they will brush everything off. So the best you can do is to think of a way to say everything really politely so they can't even call you rude, while still telling them to put their stupid male egos aside and love Cody even if he chooses to do cheer. Like, what the F? How can someone do so much and even be a kid? When does he have time to just chill and be with friends? And OP responds, aw, thank you. I'm gonna find Cody right now and give him a massive squeeze, lol. Thanks for the advice. I'll keep it in mind for the future. And as for your question, he literally doesn't do anything but practice and sleep. He'll forget to eat some days because of how tired he is. There is absolutely no way he has time or even remembers to hang out with his friends. It's especially bad in the summer because at least he can goof off during school. Alright, well, community agrees. OP is not the a-hole. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Wow, people, I had no idea my post was gonna get so big, but I'm extremely appreciative of all the comments. Some were incredibly kind, but some were really blunt, especially regarding my brother Cody. I read them all. Anyway, I called my grandma. I told her everything and she was mad. She told me that I did a good job telling off my parents and that she's glad I told her. In the meantime, my mom finally realized that something was wrong and called me while I was out to tell me that there was something wrong with Cody. From what she described, he was doing his dissociating thing. I was kind of upset that this was her first time seeing him in this state, considering I've seen it many times, but maybe after what I said, she'd been paying more attention to him. Then my grandma arrived and she made my mom bring everyone over. Dad, stepmom, stepdad. And she really gave it to them. She told them if they didn't get their priorities straight, then she'd be taking me and Cody. She also made it very clear to my mom and stepmom that their "it's a guy thing" thinking was shameful. Mom felt guilty, but my stepdad and dad threw a fuss. Mom then yelled at them and told them what she saw. That shut them up. I don't know, it was crazy to see my parents being scolded like they were little kids, but since they didn't want to hear it from me, well, my mom then talked to Cody, who, like a lot of you said, didn't want to quit any sport because this whole thing is so ingrained in him. But mom put her foot down and told him that she was so sorry for letting this go on for so long, but he has to quit at least one sport. Cody said some harsh things back, but they resolved it thanks to grandma. He's now only doing hockey and baseball. He was too afraid to tell our dads, so my mom told them instead, and they reacted, okay. Stepdad said, at least he's not quitting all of them, but shut up after my mom glared at him. This whole situation was really something, and it's crazy to think I triggered it. I felt sort of guilty for a while, but reading everyone's harsh but very true comments knocked some sense into me. Cody has no identity, he doesn't have a favorite song, movie, etc. So it is now my mission to help him figure himself out. Hopefully, he gets therapy, but the parents are too busy fighting over whose fault this is. Maybe I'll call grandma again, lol. I just showed Cody this post and he was also thankful for the support. So yeah, thanks guys, and I'm glad I posted here. Smiley face. Alright OP, happy ending in the works. People seem to be catching on that this is not a healthy life for Cody and are gonna change that and help him out. Thank you so much for sharing OP and all the best in the future. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.